Alright, so, hang on, let me get the book. So professional here. I'm going to be reviewing Thunderbolts Back on Target. Thunderbolts Back on Target is the miniseries that's like the aftermath of Devil's Reign, which was the Chip Zdarsky Daredevil-centric event. And in there, Wilson Fisk had used the Thunderbolts as like a costume police force, which was made up of villains. In here, Mayor Cage has... Luke Cage has become mayor and wants to bring back the Thunderbolts as like a force for good. And to do so, he brings together Hawkeye, the second Power Man, Victor Alvarez, Kilgrave's daughter, who goes by the name Persuasion, America Chavez, and Spectrum, which is the second Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. And also two new characters by the names of Gust and Glory. Get it? Guts and... yeah. Cyborg Super Soldier. And Egro the Unbreakable, which is a little monster who can get big. That's really it. That's the team on a whole. So, for some reason, I know Zub can be a good writer. I know he can be a really good writer, and I have this weird feeling that he wanted this to be an ongoing. I feel like he wanted this title to be like a full-on ongoing, but they said, you're getting 5 issues, and he went, fuck! Because he puts out so much stuff in here, like bringing in Egro, bringing in a totally new character who's this cyborg super soldier, who I heard like was supposed to be connected to the Deathlock program, which I was like, ooh, that'd have been cool if we got to see that. And yeah, what we get here is a fun story, don't get me wrong, but it's also like a very packed-in story for... I feel like this should have got 12. I don't even... like, again, I feel like Zub wanted this to be an ongoing, but just could not, for the life of him, just could not in any way, shape, or form get anything off the ground. Like, could not get this to be more than 5 issues. So he had to do like a whole story arc in one thing. And the main thing is that this deals with a lot of like Hawkeye, Clint dealing with his own insecurities. And thankfully this comic does do something that I've been waiting for Marvel for a while, where every writer thinks they can be Matt Fraction. They can do Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, but better. Well, Jeff Lemire did actually pretty good, I'm not going to lie. But every writer who isn't Jeff Lemire or Matt Fraction, especially Matt Fraction, tries to write Hawkeye as this schlub who everyone hates. And it's so goddamn annoying. Because, I've seen that so many times since post-Matt Fraction run. At least in the Matt Fraction run, he learns from his mistakes and keeps moving. He keeps self-destructing, but that's the thing. He keeps learning to get better. And thankfully, Zub does it here. Zub does the whole thing of people count out Clint Barton for whatever reason, even though he's one of the oldest members of the Avengers. He led the West Coast Avengers and a incarnation of the Thunderbolts. But yeah, it always feels like they just don't want they just want to keep doing that. Also, if you want to know anything about Gust and Glory, Gust and Glory, don't bother. He's just a dude who showed up out of nowhere. And again, it brings up that whole thing of Zub wanted this to be an ongoing, just couldn't do it because we don't get enough with him. We don't get enough with Egro, which is kind of a word, just replace one letter of that word and it's really problematic. I know it's supposed to mean, he grow because he gets big, but I'm no, that feels like the name is just you're one letter away from getting canceled here, Zub. But yeah, it's really more of a team book, but I would have liked to have seen more with Persuasion and being Kilgrave, the Purple Man's daughter, who was a big, I would have liked to see more of that. It is a good book, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like this could have been so much more. That's the big thing with this, is that it wants to be so much more than it is. And yeah. And I don't think I've seen I don't think I've seen this incarnation of the Thunderbolts anywhere. Hell, I haven't seen this version of the Thunderbolt. I don't think I saw this incarnation of the Thunderbolts in Jim Zub's Spider-Man run. So yeah, well, then again, Jim Zub's run of Spider-Man has been hampered by the real Spider-Man enemies, the editorial group. But yeah, the main villain of this is fun. Also, I gotta give credit to Zub, is that he knows how to do his homework, because he brings up all this stuff for, like, talking about the Defenders Beyond series. He talks about the stuff with the Ultimates. He talks about, like, even, like, way back stuff. Like, he did his homework on the West Coast Avengers, too. Because there's a moment between him and John Walker, U.S. Agent, where he's like, he makes a callback all the way back to the original West Coast Avengers comic. So that was, man did his homework. I can't fault him for that. So yeah, the villain in here, I don't want to spoil, although you kind of figure out a little bit. You kind of figure out halfway through. Also, there's some fun villains in here, like we get the Super Apes, the Red Ghosts, not Red Ghost himself, but his Super Apes, which for a standalone story, we get a lot. Like, there's fun villains in here, like Whirlwind and Melter show up. There's a lot. Like, Jim Zub clearly knows how to write a team book, but he clearly was limited on. He was clearly, like, limited on, like, number of issues. So, do I recommend this? Yeah, it's a fun book. It's a decently, it's a decent book all around. It's nothing to cry home about, be like, oh man, Thunderbolts is so cool. It's more like, here's a fun series to follow around and not shit on Clint Barton anymore. It kind of ends on a good note, too, for Clint. So, yeah. Once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this book. This one actually did not... this book actually, like, he ordered months ago, and it just showed up a week or so ago, so I've been reading through that. But anyway, I'd like to thank Chris once again for this comic, and you guys tell me in the comments below. If you've read Thunderbolts back on Target, what'd you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.